Well, the Colorado Avalanche did get the job done today. While it was a little excessively dramatic, a win is a win nonetheless as they take down the Washington Capitals 2-1. Now, if you watch the first period of this game, you would think to yourself, wow, it feels like the Avs just played this game. And it's because they kind of did. They only had one game between their two games against the Capitals. And yeah, it felt exactly like the same. Washington was very content to keep it slow early on. This was just not a very fun hockey game for the first half of the game. I thought the Avs started off pretty well, but then it just they fell into the Capitals scheme. They were making a lot of poor decisions with the puck, and they weren't really adjusting properly. They had some chances, but then one of their best chances in the period to Arturi Lehkonen didn't go through. And on that same shift, the Capitals will go down and score a goal. The Capitals got to work a little bit harder. Obviously, it's Trevor Van Riemsdyk versus Samuel Girard. There's a bit of a mismatch there in terms of like size and strength. Sam Girard, obviously not a very strong dude. Van Riemsdyk wins that, gets it to Wilson, and Wilson makes a pass to Pierre-Luc Dubois, who Jonathan Drouin just kind of lost. There's a bit of a miscommunication between him and Manson. Really not sure why Drouin thought that wasn't his guy, but it doesn't really matter. The Avs were down 1-0. Not a lot Alexandar Georgiev could have done on that play. Just a very nice pass from the Capitals and a bit of a defensive breakdown for the Avs. Didn't go particularly better the first half of the second period. Still very slow. Both teams combined for like 5 shots halfway through. It was pretty slow. It was pretty bad. And then the Avs got one shift with their first line where they were really cycling the puck, really getting it going. And I think that's when it started to click. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, Cale Makar later on that shift smashed the corner glass on the Avs bench. And because apparently NHL teams just don't hire competent rink employees anymore, they fumbled their way through putting that glass back in. I mean, no offense to those people. It's just I feel like every time there's a glass being broken, like to be completely honest, anywhere but Ball Arena. Like I feel like Ball Arena does a really good job with it, and every time I see somewhere else do it, it takes like 5 to 10 minutes. It's ridiculous. As they replace that glass, the Avs did get back to work. It didn't seem like they missed a beat, which I thought was pretty impressive. I was a little worried it was going to take the momentum out of their sails, but they did find a way to get past that Capital system. They were cycling the puck really well. They just had to make smart choices, use their feet. They had to play to the outside a little bit and then take their chances when they could rather than trying to hammer them immediately. They were able to draw a penalty from their cycle, and Mikko Rantanen would pass the puck in off of a Capital skate. Not super pretty of a goal. They would play pretty well for the rest of the game. Honestly, I felt like their offense was not an issue at all. They were cycling the puck well, controlling possession. They were really working the Capitals pretty well. But then they would have these moments because the way they were finding a lot of success against Washington offensively was they were having their defensemen come and pinch into the play. Because the problem was every time they would turn over the puck, the Capitals had a pretty quick turnaround and they would break the puck out very quickly. So the Avs had one of their offside defensemen come and pressure their winger a lot harder. And this was working well, but sometimes the Capitals will get breaks from that. And they had a few breakaways. Alexandar Georgiev made some nice saves, one of them with a poke check. We always love a little Georgie poke check. Those are always fun. And he stood tall, This was a consistent theme through the third period, too. The Avs were playing pretty well. Honestly, for the first half, they were just controlling play. Like, full stop. Like, they didn't even have that many breakdowns. And then Miles Wood would score a tip goal to break the tie, and then things kind of shifted more towards the Capitals as they had to push a little bit harder. The Avs didn't adjust to that one quite very well. They kept kind of pushing a lot with their defensemen, got caught a lot of odd man rushes and such, but Georgiev played well. They locked it down, kind of. I wouldn't say the Avs defense made a few nice plays. They had a penalty kill late in the game, and on the empty net, they didn't give the Capitals a lot of chances. But, it wasn't perfect. There were still a few too many chances before that. I feel like there was a time between the Capitals' power play, which was with about like 6 or 7 minutes left, and like when they pulled their goalie with about 2 to 3 minutes left, where things were getting a little rough for the Avs. A few too many clean chances in front of Georgiev given up, but he stood tall. The Capitals did hit a crossbar, so the Avs got a little bit lucky there, but, the Avs hit some posts too, so it's really not that big of a deal. I don't think it was a pretty game from the Avs, but it's hard to be super upset with it. I think, all 4 forward lines played really well. They all had their moments. They all controlled play for the most part, especially in that second half of the game. The last 2 periods were definitely more controlled by the Avs. After playing a team 2 times, you kind of start to pick up on what they're doing. And a team that's so system-oriented like the Capitals, if you find a gap in that system, it's very easy to exploit. once you do it, especially when you have talented and smart players, kind of like the Avs do. They did that. They were cycling the puck pretty well, and they were controlling play. Like I said, it got a little messy towards the end. I don't love that. Really, they need to break up Sam Girard and Josh Manson. I don't really know what the solution is. Girard is the better player, so he should be playing the second line minutes, but at the same time, you don't really want to put... I mean, you could try him with Sam Malinsky and then put Manson with like a DeHaan or like a Kylington, but that feels all too redundant. It feels like you just have like two lines that are so situationally specific. Like, I just don't super trust the Malinsky-Girard pairing in their own zone. And the Manson-DeHaan line will, like, do fine in the offensive zone, but it's not going to be very pretty, you know? I don't know. I just feel like you're in a tough spot with that. And I think that is one of the few flaws with how the Avs blue line is constructed is it does feel a little bit redundant at times. You do have a lot of guys that are smaller, not very physical, puck-moving guys, which is good. But at the same time, you need some of these more stay-at-home defensemen who can hold their own in front of their net, win some more puck battles, because I love Sam Girard, but he gets beat so many puck battles. You know, it's not his fault. He's just a small guy. It's hard to beat these dudes, but it can be frustrating at times. On the flip side, I did really like Cale Makar and Oliver Kylington. I thought they were both controlling the puck very well in the offensive zone. They were a big part of the cycle. They kept things moving very well in the right direction for the Avs. One of Kylington's better games as an Av. And I mean, we might as well just get into the headliners at this point. I'm kind of sneaking ahead here. But we'll start off with Alexandar Georgiev. I thought he played really well. Lots of saves. You know, I think it's not like I don't want to knock on him, you know, because he's playing really well. There's some shaky moments for sure. Like sometimes, you know, he's just stopping that puck and he isn't like stopping it and like controlling it as well as you'd like, but he's stopping it, and that's really what you want to ask for. It's been working out for him lately. You know, there's some times where it doesn't, like what we saw in the Kings game, but for him to return from injury after like a week or so off and just play such a good hockey game is pretty impressive, honestly. Especially for a guy that we've seen struggles coming off of long breaks. That kind of return to form is very impressive and bodes well for a potential kind of resurgence from Georgiev. He looked pretty confident at times. Like I said, there were some times where he's, you know, a little gung-ho with the puck in terms of like his rebounds and everything, but he's not like sliding around as much, and he doesn't look kind of as frantic. He looks a little bit more controlled like we saw him in his first year with the Avalanche. Cale Makar was very good tonight. He was walking that blue line really well. Him and Devon Toews I thought were pretty good defensively too. Toews was a little bit more of a meh with the puck. There was a lot of times where they would sneak out Kylington with Makar just because Toews wasn't doing super well with the puck. So I don't know. It's definitely something that's been nagging him for a while. To be completely honest, I'd keep Kylington in next game, and I would maybe swap out Toews for DeHaan. That's kind of what I'd like to see, a little bit more of like a rotation instead of just, oh yeah, Kylington, like DeHaan's the one that's always coming out. I mean, I'd even give Malinsky a game off or so. I don't know if that's really necessary because he's younger and he's still trying to prove himself. But there's some dudes, like maybe even a Josh Manson, you can give a game off to, you know. I feel like they have 8 defensemen and they need to be able to work those guys in and out a little bit more. You know, when you have these guys that are banged up, it's not a point in the season where it's worth it to keep playing them if they're not feeling 100%. You have dudes who, at this point, have shown you enough at the NHL level that you can trust them for a game. You know, Ludwig and Kylington can both at least moonlight in the NHL. I'm sure Kylington can do more, as I've talked about many times, but I feel like there could be a little bit better management with the blue line, like I said. Offensively, I was a big fan of the bottom 6 tonight. I'm kind of just going to lump them all in together, especially that fourth line. I'll kind of exclude them, I guess, a little bit more, highlight them. They were pretty good. They were kind of the fire starter for the Avs. You know, they were the ones who were getting in and cycling the puck pretty consistently all game, and I think that kind of like tipped it to the Avs. Oh, this is what we need to do to be successful against the Capitals, because that's what that line was doing. To be completely honest, I think I kind of view them as a little bit more of their third line at this point. I think they should get more of those third line minutes. I think the Kiviranta, Logan O'Connor, Ivan line has been fine, but I don't know, just that fourth line has been a little bit better. They've played very well these past 3 games together. I think they should get a few more minutes and a few more opportunities. Wood has been very good since coming back. It's been nice to see him kind of make a little bit more of a name for himself, prove himself a little bit more to the fans. You know, he can be a very good bottom 6 player, and I think it's just about using him properly and kind of giving him the right players and situations to play in. You know, there's a lot of plays today where he just creates plays with his skating. And that's why he's on the team, is because of his skating, and he's using it effectively. And especially in a game like tonight where the Avs needed someone to just show that they could, like, the Capitals aren't a fast team. Just skate by them. You just got to skate by them. And that's what the Avs figured out. And I think a large portion of that was because of Miles Wood. Parker Kelly's been very good for a while. Ever since he kind of slumped back into a more natural role as like a 4C. He's not a center, I don't think, still, but a 4th liner is definitely a good position for him. And Kovalenko's been fine. I think he's probably been the quietest guy on that line, but he's still done pretty well. You know, he's still a big part of that line. I did like Jonathan Duran a lot tonight. I know he had that mistake on the Capitals' first goal, but he had a lot of chances. He was creating a lot of chances. He had a few mistakes. I feel like a lot of the forwards, like, it was kind of like, it's hard to say any of them did particularly well. I thought they all had their good moments, you know, on either side of the puck, but also I felt like a lot of them had some moments where I was like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? Come on. And so it was a little bit of a weird mix, but I definitely thought he played pretty well tonight. You know, he had those moments, but I felt like he had a lot more chance creation. Like, he was definitely much more positive in one direction than the other. You know, and he creates that turnover that leads to the Mikko Rantanen goal, which is nice. Unsung heroes, I don't like I said, Kylington kind of before. I thought Logan O'Connor was doing pretty good. He was really working hard on that forecheck. I liked him a lot. I know there's a lot of people like clamoring for production from him, and I get it. Like, I'm definitely not like opposed to it. I would like him to produce more, but I think we all have to remember, kind of separate how Logan O'Connor finished last year from kind of who he is as a player. You know, he gets hot. He will get hot. We're only 20 games into the season, and I understand he needs to produce a little bit more, but he's been in a weird situation. I think he'll pick it up soon, to be completely honest. You know, he's getting close. I really think, I don't know, I'd like to see maybe him and Wood with Kelly. I think those two do feed off each other pretty well, Wood and O'Connor. We'll see. I thought the Avs played well tonight. I've seen some other people point it out, but this is a good win for them to have against a good team to kind of grind out a win. I don't know why they're so bad at scoring on empty nets, but they get scored against on empty nets so often. It's really weird. It's really annoying. Like, this is why it's so stupid. Everybody's going to look at the plus minus and be like, oh, are they playing really that well? And it's like, well, they're giving up like 50 empty netters and they haven't scored like more than 3 the entire season. So, which it's a whole different conversation, but it's just a random thing that I thought of. I thought this was a good game from the Avs. They're going to need to be a little bit better against the Panthers, especially when they're closing these games out, you know. I think it's been a little questionable lately. Last game it was a little bit more because of Annunen, but this game was definitely a little questionable in terms of the closeout. They played well. They played with heart. They were breaking up plays and everything, so it's not like too upsetting, but the Panthers are a very good hockey team. And the Avs kind of got their butts handed to them last year by Florida, so it would be nice for them to not have that happen this year. I won't have you covered for that one, but hopefully Monday against Tampa Bay. But anyways, hopefully the Avs do well, get another dub. We'll see you next time.